All right, today is all about free energy and getting it done within the next couple of weeks. The accelerator forces this particle to increase its potential energetic value hundreds of times, probably 200 times, which means that we can get free energy if we can figure out a way to harvest it. And I will show you exactly how to do it, and it's very, very simple. All we need is these little tiny looking semiconductor CMOSs, because they emit light, but if you put light into them, they put electricity out. So when we increase the energetic value and then we hit these little transition metal solar collector. That's all it is, a solar collector. And zoop, it shoots down a bazillion tons of electricity. And I'm going to show you a guy who I consider to be a hero at this point. And I'm hoping I can engage with him because I think he's sounds like he's really motivated, and I am too. Because I am, I'm as upset as he is. And you're going to see how upset he is. So let's get some free energy going. All right? It's very simple. The light that these things emit works exactly the opposite. You hit it with light, it will make electricity going. We just need how to harvest it. He's using regular sunlight, and he says he can even use starlight to power all of the devices he needs. Well, that could very well be. But I can tell you what, when you put it on steroids like this, you power the Empire State Building. Okay, you can see my meter is 0. There's no voltage here at all. I have them shorted out together and there's no voltage. Now, he's showing a solar collector panel, which is thin film transition metals. What I am showing here is inside of a light bulb. Now, the new light bulbs, they look like this, but what's inside of them is this little flat panel that sits right on here, and these little squares are the same as that. They're photo emitters. This is a photo receiver. Same thing. So if it's the same thing, can you show me that, Roger? Yes, I can. How are you going to show me? Well, I have light shining on that. We have 0 voltage here. 0 voltage. We have no physical connection here. What can we pick up if I read across each one of these? Look, 0.196 volts. That's not bad for one. There's like 10 of them on here. Look at this. Let me see. I got to get it right on the target. 2.04, 0.2 volts. So what my point is that these work both ways. You either put electricity into them and they shoot out light, or you put light into them and they shoot out electricity. We're going to put light into things and shoot out electricity. Not only are we going to put light into things, we are going to put laser light after a Venturi, accelerated and concussive 200 times as energetic. So when we hit this thing, we are going to be driving a ton of electricity, and I mean a ton. Now don't forget, he's talking about a collector like that. I just showed you can pick up 0.2 volts just from a little tiny little box like that. And think of how many you're going to have in there. And we're just in, light that's coming out of my room, the light in the room, which is not too brilliant. It's absolutely nothing like sunlight. Sunlight is much more intense than the light that's in this room. Now, and additionally, when we put the laser and accelerate it, it's going to be like a couple of hundred times even more powerful than that. Just think of the power. If this was 0.2 volts, and with the laser hitting it, it increased 200 times, that would be, 20 volts or so, just that one little tiny bit. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable the amount of power we can get out of this. And the other point I'm sure I'm going to say this again because it's so important. This can be handheld, carried around in caves, underground, under the ocean, anywhere. It's a source of power. Cars, in your cell phones, in your pocket. You can make these chips so small now. You could make a generator that would fit literally like a little just a very tiny little generator. It's just tiny. It depends on how much power you need. Obviously, you need a lot of power. You're going to need some kind of size to it. All electricity is movement of electrons, which will create heat. They will create, so you need bigger and bigger dimension of things so that they don't force their way in and burn. So there's going to be some size to it, but it's not much at all. You know, like 12 gauge wire in a house, that's what, you know, coming in, it's bigger than that. But you run all your circuits in your house, most of houses run on 12 gauge, some 10 gauge, depends on, you know, and even 14 gauge, which is just different sizes of wire. 10 is kind of a nice heavy duty wire. You can really run some serious equipment off of that because it's the amount of amperage that goes through it, which is the number of electrons. That's all it is. And then you go to 12 gauge, which is very sufficient for a house, and that a little less amount of electricity can go through there, which is particles, without overheating. And then you go down to 14 gauge, which is a little smaller in diameter, and it gets pretty warm. And then you get into your little circuitries, which those just have to do a specific job, and they can design them to be a size that's perfectly acceptable to do that job. All right, so he ran into the same stuff as I ran into with everything. They refuse to engage in anything. Academia is going down big time. But here's what he's doing, watch.
And you have it for free. You can have as much lighting as you want for free. This energy is a heat source, it's a power source, you can do anything you want with it. So do you want it for free, like that, or do you want to pay for it, like that? Free or pay? The choice is up to you. Thank you very much.
All right, see, he's really upset. I don't blame him, and I am upset too, because this is what we're up against, is the people that are supposed to be helping us are the people that are standing in the way of everything. I mean everything. I'm not talking about just a little here and a little there. In physics, electronics, geology, our history, you know, they are really now the slave masters, academia, and they tell you this, what you have to say, and if you don't say it, they fail you, and they won't listen to anybody else. This guy's only got 753 subscribers. This is 2016 he was doing this work, and he's mad. He's really upset. I don't blame him. You know, and they're charging everybody. They're taking advantage of people and not showing any interest in the real capabilities to heal the world and heal the populations and heal the people. Everybody is starving, their resources are destroyed, the earth is, everybody's screaming about, we got to do this, we got to do that. Not a single one will stand up. It's very, very distressing. Okay, my wonderful, wonderful friends, I can see this happening within the next couple of weeks. We're going to be able to get this thing happening. Red laser light accelerated, increasing its energetic value enormously. They say 200 times. Light is a particle. There it is right there. There is a black and white ball attached to another black and white ball. They concuss, they have mass, they can obviously accelerate. A lot of things we've been taught need to be reevaluated. They can separate. Here it separates and recombines back here. That's fusion or fission and fusion, and it's cold. It's happening at room temperature. There's nothing to this, and this is exactly what CERN wants to see: is muon neutrino, electron neutrino, which is the black and white ball, turn into just the muon doesn't change, the black ball. The white ball turns into showers. Exactly what I showed you. Now this can happen at room temperature. Room temperature, no added energy. The Venturi, which increases the concussive value of the particle 200 times, is free, passive, and it's 100% solid state. And my claim is that we can have free energy within literally weeks. There is nothing here that is not on the shelf right now. It just has to be put together. And I'll show you how easy it is to put it together. Okay, my friends, as quick as I can make it, this is pulsed red laser just flowing through the air. This is the same pulse red laser, and the particle now that is in the front of the wave, which has a magnetic field surrounding it, creating the wave, is accelerated and being pulled out of the wave and exploding here. Let me show you the particle. All right, this is the explosion at the Venturi. The black balls separate from the white, and the white creates the showers. They call them electron showers. You see it, electron showers? The electron neutrino was the white ball. The black ball was the muon neutrino. That does not change. The black balls do not change, but they will not go with the white. There's the muon. You can see high-speed muon, exploding muon doesn't change. High-speed electron, white ball, exploding high-speed white ball turns into the showers. That's what I just showed you. Now, my whole purpose here in life right now is to give people free energy. This is what I'm going to propose. This is the laser that we use, which is a simple pulsed red laser. If you took 5 watts and accelerated it through the Venturi, you will get 1,000 watts of energy on the other side. And then we can take that energy and harvest it and then use it for whatever device we want to use it for. We need a floating ground, and this would be a handheld device or something you just have, a very small device, something like this. This is a Geiger counter, but you wouldn't have it much bigger than this. You'd have a couple controls to decide what kind of power you want, how many cycles, how many volts, AC, DC, and it all could be combined like in this. I would think you could run a house on this quite easily. Not positive. We need to look into it. But if you have this kind of an increase of 200 times what the input power is, I don't see any reason you couldn't throw a few lasers in here and harvest all that power and then just put a bank of outlets in here. And then you could take these into construction zones and disaster areas and backwoods in Africa and everywhere where they need electricity. It would change the world overnight. And all of this stuff is on the shelf today. Lasers, you get a dime a dozen. This is just a Venturi. It's nothing, absolutely nothing. This is transition metal complexes, and I will show you those, and we need those, and they're very, very simple, very cheap too, and they've been known about they've been looking into them now for at least 5 or 6 years, and well, more than that really, because they're nothing more than what they use for cell phones, for the cameras in the cell phones. They're CMOS, complementary metal oxide semiconductors. Let's get into the metal oxides are the key. These are the things right here. Transition metals. Why transition metals, Roger? Well, because they have what's called a deep orbital vacancies. All other electrons, all other atoms, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all they have is outside layer of electrons. Well, these, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, but they still have holes down inside, so that when you hit those with electricity or light, they can absorb them way inside. They take in all kinds of electricity. This is what we need, and these are the different colors that they show. Look up, well, I'll show you quick. See, these are transition metals, ions. Ion means they have a charge. Now, inside here, these are the oxidation levels. You can absorb all kinds of electrons into these different... Titanium they're using primarily in these Perscovites, or what, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I'll show you in a minute. But look at what vanadium can do. It can absorb all those different states. And chromium and all these different ones. Look at magnesium. Magnesium is a really powerful absorber of all the different frequencies. It appears to me. It's the most powerful of all of them. Although you got copper, which is very, very reactive, which almost all your electronic stuff is made from a copper, conduction. It was all up until recently, at least. Now, speaking of that, we may be able to use optic cables instead of copper cables. I don't know. I don't know what's capable. But all I know is we're increasing the value of that energetic reaction exponentially. And it's very, very, very obvious. All right, he's going to be talking about something very dear to my heart. I've shown this over and over and over because you have to. They suppress everything, just like he's going to be talking about in a minute, and you'll hear what he has to say. I literally proved that there is nothing but dipoles. And this was 50 years ago. And that you could not have a gigantic positive core and a tiny little negatives floating around. It just didn't work. It was impossible. And then I confronted all of these, this is right after I got out of the Army. I was in nuclear missiles, Nike Hercules missiles in the Army. And I got out in 1970, and I was going to go right into all of this deep stuff. And I was destroyed too, just like he was. And everybody else that ever stood up. And Velikovsky I am going into him because he was the biggest hero in history. Because he did really know about history, and he knew about the things that happened, and he was destroyed just like I was destroyed for coming up with my mud fossils. That's my buddy there. That's a goose. That's Caesar Augustus. Augustus, get it? Anyway, it is his feathers. Now this guy's pissed, and I don't blame him. I am too. But how much can you let it destroy your life? Because it literally has destroyed my life for at least 10 years. If you wanted to have a life like everybody having friends over and talk and everybody's having a good time, it doesn't work anymore. I can't do it. It's impossible. Not even with my wife. It's just that nobody will allow this stuff to be seen and talked about. It's just too much for the average human mind. And it's just, they don't want any reality. They want to be told stuff by academia. And he's pissed and I'm pissed.
To destroy me.
They try to destroy him.
They tried to send me mad. They sent me to the most inhospitable places. They faked war. They went as far as removing my child from me. So this video is a personal attack and retaliation against the Crown of England.
Right on, brother.
And I'm a goddamn Englishman. I am the perfect English gentleman. And the Royal Navy, in their pirating, scumbag attitude, committed treason, not only against UK, but against every goddamn man and woman on this planet, by hiding that video for the last 37 years. They have made you pay. They have made you suffer for 37 years. Now you can all welcome to come and...
It will go on for another 100 years. Unless somebody stands up, somebody's got to confront this, and everybody's saying, absolutely, we want free energy, we want to save the planet, we want to save the greenhouse, all this global warming, all this starvation, all this food supplies, all the water's destroyed. Absolutely, it's a house of cards. Don't you people understand this? I have gotten zero support from anybody other than, oh boy, this is great. Yeah, look at this. This is fantastic. Well, that's good. That's wonderful as the planet just goes into total destruction. And nobody will stand up. Not a damn person. And I'm down with you, brother. I love you. I love you, man.
Visit me. I live on an island called Pag. P-A-G. And it's in the country of Croatia. Come and pop along, visit my lab, leave me a couple of euros at the door because I don't have a job, because the Navy told everybody never to employ me. I have charity people help me out. But you want this tech, which is going to free you. If you want your children to grow up in a clean, healthy environment, then this tech is here for you. If you don't want to be a slave to the government and the banks and the war machine, then this tech is here for you.
What he's missing is that it's academia controls everything. It's academia controls the military, they control physics, they control energy, they control everything that's done. And they use peer review to make sure that nobody can go in and disrupt their slave system, which right now, he's exactly right. We are slaves to the slave masters, which is academia. Academia is a slave master. No question whatsoever now. Just go back and logically understand what's going on. They tell you that if you're not educated, you can't get a good job. And the only way you can get educated is to go to them in a higher education system where you have to pay and indebt yourself as an indentured servant to have them tell you what you have to say to become educated. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. If you don't say it, you're not educated. And if you don't say it, you fail, and they keep your money and they make you go back to the fields. If you say what they say and say it really, yeah, boy, I really know what I'm talking about, and you make a whole batch of doodles and draw all these little silly little things and all that nonsense, and then you say, oh, see, I understand. They say, oh, yeah, you're smart. Then and you go along with what they say. Good. You're golden, man. You can just go right to the top. But if you say one word against them, have a nice day, don't ever come back. It happened to Velikovsky, it happened to me, happened to this guy, happened to Tesla, happened to everybody that came out with anything of any significance. And this has got to stop. Got to stop. And I love this guy.
I can't say anymore, but I will make another video. Now I've got to find a way of uploading this video without the military seconding it. So when I take this video off, I'm going to copy it to 20 microsims. And I'm going to go and hire a car for cash somewhere. And I'm going to go and deliver these 20 sims to 20 news agencies all around the world. I'll make sure China's got a copy. I'll make sure Russia's got a copy. And India and South Africa. All the countries that the UK and the US have abused. They will show the video. They will make sure that the world finds out what the United Kingdom done to one man. Thank you very much.
We should support this guy. If he's willing to do this and stand up, because he's shown it and I've shown it, there's no mystery here. The mystery is how we are letting ourselves be abused like this. And I am with you, my brother. Nigel, we're going to do this, man. One way or the other, it's going to happen. Understand, you would never ever see these particles or that black ball ever until you accelerate it like we did. Now, they don't think light can accelerate. Well, it obviously can. I just showed you. This is how these light particles enter. They call them neutrinos. Then they form these balls, and then they explode at the Venturi.